picture spring, what kind of progress did you guys make, Rhett?
Big picture, I thought was solid. Thought we made good progress. Thought we were better at the end of spring than we were at the beginning. Not only individuals, not only in different, in each of the specific position groups, but also just felt like, just from an intangible standpoint of our guys kind of knowing the standard we expect them to be at, both physically, mentally, from a conditioning standpoint, a toughness standpoint, the way we practice, the way we compete. I just thought it got better. So I feel like we progressed, and I feel like it was a solid spring. I do not feel like we're where we need to be yet, but I think we're going that way and we're on the right track.
So how many positions do you feel comfortable with as far as you can say that we have a starter at this spot on offense?
It's hard to say. I mean, there's definitely some that we feel better at than others. The thing is that these people wanting spring depth charts, it's kind of like preseason polls in my opinion. You can do them, but it really doesn't mean anything, because we've got a whole, half of a signing class or more that's going to be here competing in the summer and in the fall. And so anything you put on paper now is definitely in pencil, because you never know what will happen in August. And we're going to count on quite a few of the young guys, some that are already here and some that aren't here, whether it's to start or in depth roles this season. We know that. So, I'll say that there's definitely some guys that are returning guys. We have a few returning starters from last year. There's some guys that we have more confidence in others because they've been in those situations more. But we got a lot of guys that either played just sparingly in games or hadn't played at all yet, and so it's kind of hard to really make any decisions after 15 practices.
So what you got targeted?
Do what?
With that in mind, though,
I just went ahead and got that out of the way, so I got to ask that question 10 times.
Jeremy was named a starter. What
Yep,
did you see?
I could have answered with that one. That's one I know. I feel good about that.
Sure.
You want to put an order for that?
No. Go ahead.
What did you guys see out of him to enable you to go ahead and do it so quick?
Well, I think he earned it, first and foremost. And, Jeremy, obviously the experience he has playing in about 7 games, starting one his freshman year, starting a game and playing in games last year. He's played in, some meaningful games, some meaningful moments, and done quite well in those situations. So we have a little more information on him in that regard to maybe most guys that hadn't, been the starter in the past. I think too, though, it was a good spring of competition. Sean White performed very well this spring. Very proud of him. Very pleased with where he's at. Very comfortable with him. You look at a deal like A-Day, he wasn't in the same situations at times as Jeremy, but he did very well. Was very efficient with it. Didn't get as many situations to push the ball down the field. When he did, we made a play. So he's someone that, going into this league again, like last year, we felt good having 2 guys that we could win with. I feel very good at this point that we're going to have 2 guys that we could win with. So it was a good competition, but at the end of the day, you want someone to earn it, and he earned it. And got all the confidence in the world in Jeremy. I think he's prepared for this moment. And, now it's just like I told him yesterday, it's just starting though. And, now the real work starts.
When did he actually start to show that separation that you were looking for? Last time we met with you, you're like, they're not playing to a championship level yet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name a starter.
And I still don't know if we are.
Oh.
I think if you just look at Jeremy, I thought he had a very solid spring. I was really proud of him. I think he got much better as spring went on. I think he performed well on A-Day. There was probably 2 throws he needed to have back. But, I thought he performed very well, but he wasn't exceptional. And by exceptional, he wasn't, he hadn't quite gotten to where he, is at his best, and that's where his goal is and where he wants to be. And so there's still more in it for him, and that's what we're going to keep working for. But was proud of the way he performed, proud of the way Sean performed. I just think probably somewhere around the second main scrimmage, it wasn't as much what Sean didn't do. It was just more of, Jeremy's got all that experience, and he's been there, he's done that, and you can just tell that, he's ready.
Rhett, do you anticipate Tyler Rowe being like Sean last year, the number 3 guy who may not play?
Yeah, at this point, it's looking that way. Right now, those are the 3 scholarship guys that we have playing quarterback full time. So, Tyler did a good job for 15 practices. Supposed to be going to prom right now and all that. He did a really good job, and it's going to be really beneficial for him and for us this fall that he had these 15 practices, because now he can go into the summer and get better. He can come in August, and it's not new anymore. He knows the base foundation of the system. He's operated, he's played, he's been live in some scrimmages, he's been tackled. All that's out the window, and now he can focus on a similar role that Sean had to be in, and that is, hey, I'm just 2 plays away from being the guy. And so I thought that was really good for him.
How much weight do you want him to lose?
much weight do I want him to
Oh, yeah,
lose?
it's maybe 240-pound quarterback.
He moves pretty good.
At 240.
He moves pretty good. You see him running on A-Day? I think he moves pretty good. Now, it may be a weight change or distribution. I mean, whether that becomes a 240 someday or a 230, I don't know. You know, he's a young kid. He's still technically should be in high school, so he's got some of that baby fat and stuff that once he has a year in a system with Ryan Russell, will kind of just fall off and it'll look better. And but Tyler's strength, he's a big guy. He can throw the ball, he can throw on the run, he can run. I mean, he's a good athlete. And you know, you've got all kinds of guys that have been successful with a lot of weight. I mean, Cam had weight, Tim Tebow had weight. I mean, you can go on down the line. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the actual weight he has. I think it's just it'll change over time into more muscle the longer he's in our program. But I think he moves pretty well for his size.
Every spring, there's one guy, either offense or defense, this huge spring game, and then it doesn't necessarily translate to the season. What makes Myron Burton different in what we saw Saturday and how he bring that?
Do we really have someone every year that does that?
Well, you know, I mean, for whatever reason, they don't become a starter or whatever.
It's like the Madden curse on the deal and all that
I
kind
mean,
of stuff.
you know, it's not necessarily ones against
It's like winning the
ones.
par 3 contest at Augusta. Don't even go play the 4 rounds. You got no chance.
Pretty much.
Well, you know, Myron is someone that I think you see his ability, his athleticism. He'll attack the football. You know, that's the first thing is, you know, he's aggressive to the football. That's the first thing you want a receiver to be able to do. And he had a good spring game, but he had a good spring. You know, Myron's deal now is just going to be all about being comfortable in the offense and in the system. You know, he redshirted last year, so he didn't get to play, and he had a little bit of time in bowl practice in spring, and that's really been the bulk of his work. And but there's no question it was good to see him have some success, and now he's got confidence and something to drive him and motivate him in the offseason because we're going to need him as far as depth goes, and we're going to need him to make some plays. And you know, we're counting on him to continue to raise his level.